Orcs, cops, magic, and Will Smith. Let's find out how everything in Bright comes together with the star Edgar Ramirez and director David Ayer. We're so glad to be chatting with you guys right now about this movie. You're about to blow everyone's minds at Comic-Con, showing some a good deep look at what this film is, but you only released a 30-second trailer before that. So can you guys sort of set up what is the general conflict in this movie?
The conflict's life. I mean, it's really about, you know, it's Los Angeles today, but what if there were elves and orcs and fairies and these different races that had to live together, and so you have all the same social issues of today times 10.
Why was this the movie that you wanted to come to after Suicide Squad, but maybe before you dive back into more DC movies?
Well, it's a new kind of world creation, and I love the idea of how original it is. Plus, I've always been such a fan of, you know, law enforcement movies, cop movies, crime movies, and this is all that except, like, the bad guys have magic.
What is the fun for that for you, Edgar? Because you're playing an elf in this movie, correct?
Yeah. I'm playing Candomir, the law, right?
The law. He's playing the guy that takes magic out of the hands of the bad guys that have it.
Yeah. You know, and it's as David was saying, the rules are just like our world, but you know, with the twist, it's a parallel universe where people have to work out the differences just as we do in our world. And I think that's one of the things that excited me the most about the project, of how, regardless of how, you know, diverse or unique a universe is, it's still you have to work out your differences just to make it through life.
One of the things I love about this movie, purely from sort of an objective standpoint, is it's not only one of the biggest movies to come to Netflix, but it's a rare mid-budget movie that don't seem to exist in Hollywood anymore. And I'm wondering, no, not quite. I mean, like, it's usually like 3 million or like 200 million, right?
Well, this one wasn't cheap.
I wouldn't.
No, it's not
I wouldn't
cheap,
call
but
this mid-budget.
But what's the appeal to you of like making a movie for Netflix in this way?
I mean, this is a huge movie. This is the biggest thing they've ever made, and it's massive. But for me, it's the freedom. It's the freedom to have my voice and be a filmmaker and make a movie and, you know, have the respect of being able to make my decisions without 20 studio executives standing nervously behind me wringing their hands.
And does it at all change the experience for you, Edgar, or as an actor, is it still pretty much showing up to set for a new film that you're shooting, even though it's for Netflix?
No. If anything, it deepened the experience of being an actor. I mean, not because David is standing next to me right now, but he's an amazing director who gets into our heads. You know, the fact that David directs me on, David speaks flawless Spanish.
I know, I saw that right before we started shooting.
That's our communication, and he would direct me in front of everyone in Spanish, and I would translate to the crew and to my actors. That was part of the intimate environment that he creates to get something out of us. So you just sign on and you just let yourself go, and that's so important to have that trust. And I think that I can speak on behalf of all actors. We felt this is a huge movie, as he said. I mean, it's a massive film, but it felt like we were doing an indie. I mean, in terms of what went on set and the way we interacted and the way we established relationships in the film, it felt as indie as you can get.
Well, I also want to ask you, like, what's the appeal for both of you about creating a movie that's not based on something that is an original idea?
It's a relief.
Yeah, I mean, you're not trapped by anything, and you're not going to have like fanboys saying, well, you know, in issue 13, you know, you screwed up the storyline. So it's freedom to create something new, but it's original, and so much of what we see is so formulaic, and they stand there and they hand you the manual and say, shoot it like this, but no one's seen this movie before, no one's made this movie before.
Well, I do want to ask you about another adaptation you do have coming up, because I have you here, and it is Comic-Con, and I got the shirt on, right? You're working on Gotham City Sirens for DC. Why was this the direction that you wanted to go after Suicide Squad instead of Suicide Squad 2?
I mean, it's a story about 3 fantastic women who are kind of just trying to find their way in the world, and then realize that they have more power together than individually, and there's something I really connect with that. And I have daughters, and I want to create something that can kind of maybe help them get along in the world a little bit.
I'm so excited that you're going to be introducing Catwoman and Poison Ivy to the DCEU. Can you talk a little bit about sort of what you're looking for in the actors you end up casting for that?
Oh boy, let's put a pin in that, and maybe next Comic-Con.
And take that for later.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to ask though about Harley. Are you looking to sort of take her in a different direction? We were just talking about how iconic her outfit is. Are you going to switch that up, or looking for sort of more of what you did with her in Suicide Squad?
Everybody evolves.
I love that. I'm so excited. I know I put you on the spot for it, but
It's
we're just
inevitable.
so thrilled for
Inevitable.
that. I know.
Yeah.
You guys have such big plans there. We're so excited for Bright as well. It looks like such an amazing movie.
Yeah.
I love seeing different type of fantasy that we haven't seen before, especially on Netflix. So thank you both for coming
you.
by to IGN Live at Comic-Con. We'll be back to you with more great stuff soon.